Yeah, there's a number of resources that you can check out, but one of them here in the upper Midwest that I would highly recommend is Kent Solberg. And Kent has a fencing company and is also with the Sustainable Farming Association. And Kent's an expert on temporary and electric fencing. He uses it himself on his own farm, and he has done this with many producers throughout this area. So I recommend you check out Kent and the resources and expertise and skills that he has to offer.
A lot of our row crop producers, they took out the fence 30, 40 years ago in many cases, and we don't have fences for livestock, and yet we need fences for livestock management. So what do? Well, the technology's advanced a lot in the last 40 years. It doesn't need to be 4 or 5 strand barbed wire anymore. We're having really good success with 2-strand high tensile energized fence. If it's a site that we may think that the fence may not be there maybe once every 5 years or something like that. We want something semi-permanent. We're using 14 gauge high tensile wire instead of the standard 12.5. It's lighter, it's easier to roll up. We don't lose much strength in the fencing in the process. We're using 7/8 inch diameter by 5 foot tall fiberglass line post. It's a coated fiberglass line post, so you don't get the splinters on your hand when you use it. Very easy to pound in. People are custom making post pounders for those. It's a 1-inch piece of steel pipe, 48 inches long. We take a 1-inch piece of cold rolled stock, put it in there, and about a foot long, put it in there about 4 inches, weld it in place. Now you have a post driver. When you drive that fiberglass post in the ground, the bottom of that post driver touches the ground. Your post is going to be at 44 inches every time. And that's perfect for the type of fence we're talking about. Wire spacing, 30 and 40 inches above grade, works for most adult cattle. Once those cattle respect that fence, it's plenty of fence to do the job. Now, how do they respect that fence? They respect it because we have enough shocking power in the fence. We want to see a minimum of 4,000 volts in that fence. The day you put it up and flip the switch and turn that thing on, I like to see 7, 8, 9,000 volts in that fence. If you're not seeing that, either your energizer isn't big enough, you've got a problem with your grounding system, or you got a short in your fence somewhere, and you need to do some troubleshooting and figure that out before those animals get out there.
We also want to look at energizers. This is another place to never skimp. Energizers are an investment, not a cost. And so we want to look at high joule, low impedance energizers that allow you, again, to be able to carry a current over long distances and to keep that current strong at all times. And there's multiple options there. We have very good technology today that includes plug-in energizers, if you have available electricity, battery-powered energizers, and solar panel-powered energizers. We actually, on our own operation, use a combination of all three of those very effectively and efficiently. And there are solar panel energizers out there today, particularly if you use anywhere from a 40 to 100 watt solar panel that can power 400 to 500 acres off of a single energizer. So that makes this very appropriate technology to use even in more remote areas where you don't have power lines or a source of ready power coming in. And for those of you that may have fragmented operations, you have different pieces of land located across a broader area, or you're renting a number of different farms, having this solar-powered energizers allows you to be able to just pick them up and move them, as you move livestock to any operation.
Line post spacing on level or slightly rolling terrain, we're looking at about 40 feet between line posts. Corners, we're using 6-inch diameter, 8-foot treated posts set 48 inches in the ground. For our corners and our gates, it's pretty easy to install. Some people are using the fiberglass mule type system. It's an auger type system. That's another option. It's a little more expensive, but you don't need as much equipment to put it in. They install pretty quickly. 2 people who know what they're doing can put one in about 20, 30 minutes. So it's a pretty fast way to go. All this stuff can be picked up and moved. When you roll the wire up, there you can either do it with a PTO-mounted unit on the tractor. Those are available commercially. Or you can do it with the spinning jenny and hand roll it up. 2 people can roll up 50 acres of this stuff in about 5, 6, 7 hours. It's doable. It's a little bit of work, but then you can pick it up and move it. You should be able to recover 99% of those materials every time you pick it up and move it. If you take care of it, you're looking at about a 15-year life expectancy. Cost for materials is about 35 to 40 cents a linear foot. That works out to about $3 or less per acre per year over 15 years. So it's very affordable. It's very usable. It's semi-permanent. It's portable enough that it becomes very doable, and it's very durable. If you get into a winter situation and the snow hits, it can handle some snow load. It can handle some ice load, where polywire really struggles in that sort of scenario. So the 2-wire design with a wire 30 and 40 inches above grade can become your perimeter fence. And as long as you keep enough voltage on that and have a good quality ground, your animals are trained to fencing, great perimeter fence. Then you can subdivide that. You can strip graze that however you want, depending on the season. Polywire, portable posts, or even the light-duty cable, goes by the trade name Maxi Shock cable. Great option for subdividing that or strip grazing that cover crop throughout the winter. So we've come a long way with this technology. It's a lot easier to use. It's a lot easier to fix. It's a lot more portable than the old standard of 4 or 5 strand barbed wire fence.
The first thing that I would advise is that you go out and start exploring what the opportunities are there for fencing options, and that can include obviously an internet search. There's companies like Gallagher and Ken Cove and Premier and others that have developed some really nice fencing technologies that you can take a look at and start sifting through. But then secondly, again, I would recommend that you go to other operations that are using these new fencing technologies just to see what they look like, how easy they are to use, and what you think might work best for your particular operation.